We'll be studying today about sewage treatment. So, what is sewage? Sewage is the wastewater which is generated in our day-to-day lives, like from our houses, from industries, etc., etc. Okay. So, large quantities of wastewater which is generated every day in cities and towns, and a major component of this waste is human excreta. This municipal wastewater is also called sewage. What does sewage contain? Sewage contains organic matters, which is carbon containing compound, and since there is organic matter, there will be microbes feeding on it. So many of these microbes can be pathogenic. So this is why sewage needs to be treated before it is discharged in the environment, because if we discharge the sewage without treatment, it can lead to water infectious diseases, water pollution, like diseases like cholera, typhoid, and polluting the groundwater source, etc., which is harmful to the environment. This is why we need sewage treatment plants, which is what we are going to study, that how essentially a sewage treatment plant functions. So there are two components. There is primary treatment and there is secondary treatment, which is also called as biological treatment. In primary treatment, we physically remove the particles, like large and small particles, from the sewage. It contains two processes, which is filtration and sedimentation. So initially, floating debris is removed by sequential filtration. Sequential as in there's a grit removal, then there can be a screen removal. So there can be meshes. So water passes through all these layers, which eventually leads to the removal of floating debris. Then the water is allowed to sediment. So what happens when it is allowed to sediment? It is left still for some time. All the soil, grit, sand, it settles here, and the clear water, which is also called as the effluent, it collects above. So all solids that settle, that is called as the primary sludge, and the supernatant liquid, which is the clear water, this is called as the effluent. The effluent is then transferred. This is the primary treatment. Okay, now the effluent is transferred from the primary settling tank for secondary treatment. So now what happens in secondary treatment now? So what happens in secondary treatment is, when the primary effluent is passed into large aeration tanks. So in secondary treatment, what happens is bioaeration. Bioaeration means air is pumped into it mechanically, and the mixture is constantly agitated, like in a mixer, grinder. The same type of movement happens in this tank. So what happens is, this allows the vigorous growth of useful aerobic microbes into flocks. What is flocks? Flocks is fungal filaments